Hi Gemini, welcome to Divination by Raina Moon, as well as your June 2015 astrological forecast. The first thing that I see is the full moon in Sagittarius at 11 degrees on June 2nd at 11:19 a.m. Central Standard Time, and this will fall in your 7th house of partnerships. So there might be a push-pull between you as the individual and the other person in the relationship and how that works. You know, are you being able to be yourself enough, or are you feeling suffocated or somehow overshadowed in your relationship? And for Gemini, this is really a legitimate concern because, first of all, you're a very freedom-loving sign. And this full moon in Sagittarius highlights the need for freedom because Sagittarius is another sign that needs a lot of space as well. It is possible to find a partner that can accommodate this, but Geminis have to be very careful when they choose a significant other because they have special requirements that not every other sign does when it comes to, joining up with somebody. And they have to really take into account their need for space. When they can find it, then they can have a lifelong partner. But oftentimes, if they don't take that into account, they can find themselves in a relationship where they feel that they don't have the space to roam and that they are trapped. And this full moon can bring some of those issues to the forefront if that is already happening so far. It will just emphasize it at this time. It could also be that a more casual relationship becomes serious. You have a friend that you're just hanging around, and all of a sudden you realize, wow, I'm in love with this person. And the full moon just kind of illuminates that. So it's a very nice time in any case, because even if you realize that your long-term partnership isn't giving you freedom, you can either alter that or you can become the person that you're meant to be, which means that you would maybe have to leave that relationship. It's all good because you don't want to be just idling in this confined situation. And one thing about Geminis is that they're very changeable. You guys are a mutable sign, and so you really need that kind of novelty. You cannot stand stagnation. And eventually something's got to give. If it ain't happening, it ain't happening, It is what it is. So, in any case, I think that this full moon will be a lot less intense than the one that we just had in Scorpio, because Scorpio's a water sign. And it's a very, deep, mysterious kind of emotional purge that went on. And this is more lighthearted, party energy, fiery energy. And it should be a lot different in that sense. At 5:31 p.m. Central Standard Time, the Moon and Mars form an opposition. And this is a time to really, chill. Don't, especially since the moon is in Sag, Mars is in Gemini, there can be some snark. Both of those signs, can run their mouths when they want to. And so this can lead to some kind of explosive situation if you don't watch out. So, I put down on my notes road rage because that's 5:31 p.m. Central Standard Time is during rush hour. And so that's how I see it manifesting for the most part. But just, keep your emotions in check, you know, in the afternoon to evening hours. There's a wonderful trine between the moon and Jupiter later on the night of the full moon at 8:31 p.m. And it's a great time for visualization and for manifesting. So keep that in mind. And then on the 5th, we have Venus transiting into the sign of Leo. It was in Cancer, and that was your 2nd house, and now it's going into your 3rd house of communications. And in case you didn't know, the 3rd house is ruled by Mercury, which also happens to be your ruler. So the 3rd house is the Gemini house, and it deals with Gemini matters, which have to do with like the news, the internet, all types of communications. Also education, especially early childhood education, and also siblings. So anything to do with these issues is highlighted during the month of June because there are several planets that are going into the 3rd house. And the fact that this is your house in astrology means that it's a special house for you. So it's something to really take into account. Jupiter rules publishing, but in that 3rd house, you got that writing mojo. So definitely use that to your advantage. And then you're going to have Venus going there on the 5th. And this adds a sheen of beauty to whatever you produce, whatever you write. Or if you are relating to your siblings, this can kind of smooth any ruffled feathers if you haven't been in contact with them lately. This can really help relations with those people. It also rules your local area, so, and your neighbors. So anything to do with those aspects of your life can become a little bit nicer, and you can become more attractive to these people. And I would mark June 10th off because there are so many positive aspects on that day. I can't go through every single one of them, but suffice it to say that it's just going to be a wonderful day. It's the day before Mercury goes direct. And so whether or not you choose to start anything before the actual retrograde ends is your own decision, but I just want to highlight that day. There are a lot of energies that are supportive of the sign of Gemini, so I just wanted to put that out in the universe for you guys. And then we have a new moon on June 16th at 25 degrees of Gemini, your 1st house. You know, wonderful time for your image to get a reboot. This is your solar return for those whose sun is in Gemini, and it's a start of a whole year cycle. So, you know, hopefully you know about vision boards and you can get together the things that you want to manifest for the coming year. A great time for that. We have the moon sextile Uranus on that day, and it's a great time for your intuition, but also for that co-creative part of you, the part that knows that you can manifest. Definitely get that together on that day. Do a little bit of meditation, and if you can't seem to sit still because you Gemini people are very active both physically and mentally, do a walking meditation. Go into nature and take a hike. You know, do whatever it takes to kind of still your mind and allow the universe to speak through you. Mars has been in your sign, and it's going to transit into the 2nd house on the 24th of June in the sign of Cancer. And so what will happen basically is that towards the end of the month, you will begin to feel this sense of focus on your finances, the money that you earn. You might, find new ways of earning money, but you'll definitely be thinking about it because the sun will be going into that second house as well in the final, 10 days of the month. This is very good to earn money because, with Mars there, you're going to be more aggressive in that regard. And with those planets in the third house, again, I say that if you're a blogger, if you've never thought about it, you might want to think about using the internet for home-based business, especially as we go into the summer months, because come August, Jupiter is going to be going from your third house to your fourth house, and that's the house of home and family. And you could be benefiting from a home business at that time. So definitely keep that in the back of your mind. Saturn is in retrograde motion right now, and on the 14th it will re-enter Scorpio at 0 degrees, and this will be going back into your 6th house. It has been, slowly starting its transit through the sign of Sagittarius, but now that it's retrograde, it's going back into Scorpio, and in the middle of June, it will actually have gone back into the sign of Scorpio. So it will be revisiting your health and your daily routine. So if you have any kind of issues in that regard, this is really a great month for rejuvenation of your physical body, because you have those planets in the first house, and then coupled with this dipping back of Saturn into the 6th, it's great for, really getting focused on your body and your diet and your routines. And so you can see a lot of success during this period with that. Neptune will be retrograding in the sign of Pisces on June 10th, and this is in your 10th house of career. You may have noticed, in recent years, since Neptune has entered the 10th house, that you have felt a little bit less clear about what kind of career you wanted or your career goals. Well, now that Neptune is retrograding, it will actually kind of illuminate that a little bit more, and the veil will lift for the time being to give you more clarity on what exactly you wish to pursue in regards to career. I think that there's a positive side to Neptune in the 10th, even when it's in direct motion, because it can give you a more idealistic view of career. Instead of it just being about glorifying your ego and making a lot of money, you can be looking at it in terms of your spiritual path. And that's not a bad thing. It's just that sometimes the idealism can blind you to the actual thing that you want to do, and it can be a little bit too, unstructured. And so having Neptune go into retrograde can, lift the fog a little bit temporarily. So, be mindful of this and really kind of meditate on what it is that you want to do for your Dharma. So, Gemini, I hope you enjoyed your forecast for this month, and stay tuned, because in the coming days I will be releasing tarot readings for each sign. And in any case, I wish you well. Happy birthday.